Hello, everybody, and welcome to the face reading for successful relationships. Today we'll be talking about Diego Rivera and Frida Kahlo. I don't know if many American people know about this couple. Some certainly remember the name Frida because there was a successful movie, Frida, in 2002. It was an American biographical drama. Film depicts the professional and private life of the Mexican artist, surrealist Frida Kahlo. And I'm sure her husband is portrayed there as well. I have not seen the movie. I never knew about Frida, but I did know the paintings of Diego Rivera. I like this kind of art. And he was, of course, popular in the USSR, where I lived till the age of 27, because he was a communist. But in truth, the reason I decided to do a reading of this couple is because my book, Face Reading for Successful Relationships, is being translated into Spanish. And my agent said that in the last chapter titled Famous Couples, Why It Worked and Why It Didn't, I write about 6 couples, none of which is from Spanish-speaking world. And he told me that Frida and Diego Rivera are very known in Spanish-speaking people, particularly in Mexico, where the book is to be published. And I hadn't done any readings on my YouTube channel for a while. So as I looked at their pictures, I thought it would be a very interesting couple to read. And the subscribers of my channel would probably appreciate it. By the way, for those of you who are with me today for the first time, if you get interested in the subject of face reading, you can watch my YouTube Introduction to Face Reading, and you can also buy my book, Face Reading for Successful Relationships. It is available on Amazon.com. And here they are, Diego and Frida. Diego is 20 years older than his wife. The relationship between them is not your typical love story. This I learned by looking up their names on internet. They had messy fights, multiple extramarital affairs, and even divorced in 1939 only to remarry a year later. The duo painted each other for 25 years. But since we know about them that much, let's see what in their morphology, that is, in their temperaments and personalities, would make their relationship so challenging. Let's look at what they came into this world with, their temperaments, which are embodied in their profiles, of course. So those who have been with me for a while, a question to you. What similarity jumps out right away? You probably guessed the nervous cast. Yet both Diego and Frida clearly have that straight line between the forehead and the chin, which tells us that they're also both bilious. I will remind you a bit later what all this tells us about their temperament. But since we already have their profiles, let's look at their ears. Remember the space between the tragus and the antetragus? His space is not that wide, as you can see, but hers is. There is yet another interesting feature to see as we are looking at the profile, because it really stands out. They both have short noses. For the sizes of their faces, of course. They are short noses. So what do we learn from all this? What did we kind of discover so far? As bilious, they're both willful, both natural leaders, both are oppositional and ready to and willing to fight for their beliefs. But the fighting could happen very quickly because look at the blue arrows. As I said, their noses are short, meaning that they both don't have patience. They both can be quite snappy. Though Frida probably needed to speak way more than Diego. See the red arrows, the distance between the tragus and the antitragus. Her ear has much greater distance between tragus and antitragus. Both of them have a nervous cast. It tells us that they're both creative, fast thinkers, hypersensitive, both needed approval, attention, acknowledgement, appreciation, adoration, and so on. We call it 8 A's actually. Adulation. There was one difference though. Look at his lymphatic chin and her bilious/nervous chin. So when they would clash, she would unload and move on. He would hold on to pain and possibly resentment. As you already know from other readings, people with lymphatic temperament tend to hold on to memories, hurts, guilt, resentments, closing in their closets, and pounds on their bodies. Now, so far, temperamentally, these two are not a great match. Remember, I spoke about the levels of compatibility as 3 traffic lights, green, yellow, and red. The temperaments, as you've seen on the left, diagonally are a perfect match. The nervous with the sanguine, the bilious with the lymphatic. Having 2 people with the traits of the bilious temperament is a red light, not great news. But both being impatient made it even more challenging. Obviously, each of them separately. Frida and Diego were extraordinary human beings with a lot of passion as well as intellectual power, but together it's a whole other story. Though I must add that him being also lymphatic, look at his heavy chin, possibly made it a bit easier for them to reconcile because people with the lymphatic temperament are way more tolerant than those of bilious temperament, or even bilious/nervous, as Frida was. But now let's look at their faces, the forms which embody their personalities. Let's see if their personalities made it any easier for the two to get along. Here, what do you think? I think he's a Venus. And she's a Venus as well. Here my models. I bought these images from Shutterstock when I was writing my book. There are all different variations of Venus face. And what are the most characteristic features of a Venus personality? They're involved in social causes, and I read that Diego and Frida met at one of the meetings of communists. So they're both involved in social causes, care about people and nature, and interested in bringing peace where the conflict is. But the Venus also needs a lot of personal attention, love, adoration, and all this from their partner and the world. So both Diego and Frida were demanding the same from each other. In addition, look at Frida's mustache, and it's on many of her photographs. It means she had a lot of male hormone, a lot of testosterone, ready for fight. And the picture on the right, hair between the eyebrows. And the hair between the eyebrows is what we call a bridge that separates intellect from emotion, forehead from the nose, which is a social/emotional zone. So for some reason, from her childhood, Frida needed not to feel, but to rationalize about what was going on around her. And I don't know about her childhood. And she carried this quality into her adulthood. With the Venus face and lips, but having little patience, short nose, it was not easy for her to deal with wanting to keep peace and bite someone's head off at the same time. So she needed that bridge to separate her intellect from her feelings. So to summarize, what we can say about this couple, they could be wonderful friends, which probably in truth was, but as a romantic couple, no. A lot of their life energy went into fighting unwinnable wars. With whom? With their own temperament and personality. If that energy were not spent on strife, think how much more prolific they would have been. Or not. Maybe that fighting gave them inspiration, fueled their energy. We'll never know. But with their Venus lovingness and bilious persistence, their nervous creativity and impatience, with their personal power and vulnerabilities, with their social struggles and aspirations, they definitely made the world much richer and fuller, and also gave us an intriguing opportunity to study a challenging morphological couple. And that is all for Diego Rivera and Frida Kahlo, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being with me on this journey. Peace to all who want to live in peace.